If you're interested in learning how you can make money as a songwriter, then stick around because this tutorial is just for you.
I'm gonna love you unconditionally. Take your pick.
Hey guys, it's Dylan Laine, and today I'm going to be sharing with you some of the ways that you can make money as a songwriter. Before we get started, I've made you a cheat sheet to go along with this video. It will have all of the information that I'm about to teach you typed out so that you can download it and print it out and have it right in front of you. I'll post a link to that cheat sheet in the description box down below. I want to start by saying this. Making money as a songwriter is similar to making money as a painter, poet, or singer. Unfortunately, there's no direct path that will guarantee you a career in the arts or as a creative person. This means that creative people will often have to get creative in order to turn their skill or passion into something that makes them an income. While it is possible to go to college and even earn a degree in songwriting, even that degree will not guarantee you a career as a songwriter. In fact, that songwriting degree won't land you any type of paid opportunity, gig, or job unless you have an understanding of how to seek those opportunities out. Songwriting degree or no songwriting degree, young or old, beginner or advanced, wherever you're at, I'm going to give you a list of potential opportunities that you can seek out if you would like to make money as a songwriter. Not only that, but I'm going to teach you how you can actually make those opportunities a reality. Just to give you a little heads up for what you're in for, I'm going to cover 6 different ways that you can make money as a songwriter. However, keep in mind that these are not the only ways. In fact, I will most likely do a part 2 of this video somewhere down the road if you guys find it interesting and want to learn more. One way that you can make money as a songwriter is by becoming what's called a staff writer. A staff writer is a songwriter who agrees to publish all of the songs that they write with only one music publishing company. This typically means that any lyrics or melodies or completed songs that they write while under contract with this music publishing company will essentially belong to the music publisher. From that point on, they're no longer permitted to publish those songs anywhere else as long as they're under contract with that music publisher. Not all music publishers are the same, and not all staff writing positions are the same. So what I'm teaching you are the more generalized and common ways that staff writers and music publishers go about their jobs. Staff writers are required to write a certain amount of songs per year, which is called a delivery requirement. This required number of songs per year is documented within the publishing agreement. Now, while this might sound kind of scary or unfair, if you're wondering, why would I ever hand over my rights of my songs to a publishing company and not be able to publish it anywhere else? That sounds terrible. There is a huge payoff. The publishing company will take the songs that are written by the staff writer over the course of the year, and they will promote those songs to musicians who will hopefully then take those songs, record them, perform them, which essentially will bring money back to the staff writer. By the way, that money is what we call royalties. Speaking of royalties, songwriters are not paid an annual salary or even by the hour. In fact, they can typically determine their own hours and their own schedule. All that really matters is that they're fulfilling the song delivery requirement that they agreed to over the course of the year. Rather than having an hourly rate or an annual salary, staff writers receive what's called an advance. An advance is basically known as money to survive on until you start making money from your royalties. Okay, so what are royalties? For a songwriter, a royalty is a payment received due to their song being published, performed, and/or licensed. When the royalty payments start coming in, the publishing company actually retrieves the advance money that they gave to their staff writer before the royalty payment started coming in. The publisher may also retrieve any money that was spent on the demos made from the songs that the staff writer wrote. Once the demo fees and the advance fees have been withdrawn from the royalty payment, then the staff writer will receive that royalty payment. Royalty payment amounts can significantly vary depending on how successful a song is. So how does one go about finding a job as a staff writer? To be completely honest, there's no black or white answer or any type of direct path to becoming a staff writer. It takes an equal amount of music skills and people skills. First and foremost, you will need to build your skill as a songwriter. But just as important, you will need to make connections. What do I mean when I say make connections? Making connections means that you will need to find ways to meet publishers, songwriters, and musicians who are well connected with other publishers, songwriters, and musicians who are well connected with other publishers, songwriters, and musicians. If you've ever heard someone say, it's all about who you know, that person was right. You can meet publishers, songwriters, and musicians by attending industry events and writers' nights. As most of you might already know, one of the most common places to find industry events and writers' nights is Nashville. But that doesn't mean that they don't exist in other places. All it takes is a Google search to find which ones are nearest to you. When attending industry events and/or writers' nights, it's important to be very intentional about starting conversations with publishers, songwriters, and musicians. This way, an authentic relationship can start to form. When I say start conversations, I don't mean approach these people with your album or telling them how great you are or how much you deserve to be a staff writer. No, don't have an agenda. Be friendly, be yourself. Start a conversation about the weather or the event itself. If you happen to know who that person is, let's say they're a well-recognized publisher or songwriter or musician, let them know that you really admire their work. Not in like a, I love you so much kind of way, but just tell them that you appreciate the work that they've done and maybe even mention a specific piece of work that they've done and something that you liked about it. But if this is someone that you've just met, you've never heard about, ask them how their day is going. Ask them what they play or what they enjoy about songwriting or music. Show an interest in that person. Typically, that interest will be reciprocated and you'll most likely be asked in return, if you're a songwriter or musician, what do you do? What are you passionate about? And that's when it's appropriate to start talking about what your interests are. If it feels natural to say that you're interested in becoming a staff writer, then say it. The main point I'm trying to get across is to make connections with people free of the mindset of, what can these people do for me? But instead to approach them with a genuine interest in them and their lives, to let the relationships form organically or naturally. And what you'll see is that over time, those people will reciprocate a genuine interest in you and will be much more inclined to let you know if a staff writing position opens up within their music publishing company, or if they know somebody who needs a staff writer on their music publishing company. Publishers will be much more inclined to sign somebody that they know or that someone that they trust knows, rather than hiring a complete stranger, even if that stranger is a better songwriter than the person that they know or that someone they trust knows. Now, you don't have to be a signed staff writer with a publishing company in order to make royalties on the songs you've written. These days, nearly anybody who writes and records their own music can publish it on iTunes or Spotify or other music streaming or download websites. Anytime somebody downloads your song on iTunes or streams your song on Spotify, you receive a chunk of money that person spent on your song. That money is a royalty. If you're wondering how to get your music on iTunes, you'll need to find an iTunes approved aggregator. An iTunes approved music aggregator is essentially a service that collects your song or songs and then displays them on iTunes. Typically, you will need to pay a one-time fee up front as well as an annual fee in order to keep your song or songs on iTunes. Two of the most popular music aggregators out there are TuneCore and CD Baby. However, these are not the only ones, so I would advise you to do a little bit of Google searching yourself to see what you can come across. Once your songs are on iTunes, then it will be necessary for you to find ways to get your audience to then head over to iTunes and download your music. Because unless they're downloading the songs, you're not going to make any royalties. A third way to make money as a songwriter is by licensing your songs for TV or film. What does it mean to license a song? When somebody licenses a song from someone, it means that they are buying the rights to use that song for a determined period of time. For example, if I write a song and somebody wants to license that song from me, then they have to pay me, but in return, I'm allowing them to use that song for their film for a determined length of time. The license itself ensures that the songwriter or the owner of the copyright of the song is given their share of the money based on how that song was used. The person who is purchasing the license for the song will have limited rights based on whatever is stated in the contract. If you've written a song that you think would be just perfect for television or film, then you will need to follow a similar process as stated when finding a staff writing position. It's all about connections. So relationships with film producers, directors, and music supervisors can really put you ahead of the game. Music supervisors in particular are the ones who make a list of all the potential songs that a film or television show might have. However, the film producers and directors are the ones who make the final call. So how do you get the attention of a music supervisor? The best option is to know one personally, or to know somebody who knows a music supervisor personally, or even to know someone who knows someone who knows a music supervisor personally. I know that that sounds like an option that can only happen out of chance or luck, but that's not necessarily true. If you surround yourself yourself with people in the music industry, no matter what they're doing within the industry, you are likely to connect with somebody who would love to help you out at some point. This might mean having to move to somewhere like Nashville or New York or LA, where it's more saturated with musicians and artists and filmmakers. There's a higher chance that you could meet a music supervisor if you attend conferences or panels or movie premieres, movie screenings. But there is an alternative if this does not sound like the path for you. There are ways to get the attention of a music supervisor by paying a licensing company who has already built that relationship with music supervisors. If this sounds like something that interests you, you'll definitely want to do some research on licensing companies to see which one is the best fit for you. A fourth way to make money as a songwriter is to make YouTube videos. Make videos where you're performing the songs that you've written and then monetize them so that you can make money off of the ad revenue from the ads placed on top of your videos. Of course, you will need to have a certain number of views or maybe even subscribers before you can monetize your videos. However, I'm not going to get into the details of that. The requirements tend to change from time to time, so I would go ahead and look into what the current requirements are for being able to monetize your videos on YouTube. Once your videos are monetized, then I would suggest posting frequently and consistently, and by writing songs at least here and there that the majority of your audience will be able to relate to and connect with. It might take quite a while before you see any income coming in from the monetizing of your videos, which is why I would suggest this to be something that you do more on the side as you're building an income through other means. A fifth way to make money as a songwriter is to write custom songs for people. This is something that I personally love to do for people who are wanting to buy a custom song for people's birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, or any type of event worth celebrating. What I did was create a website where I have examples of the songs I've written for other people, as well as a price breakdown with different price options depending on what the client wants. Then I've set up a process where the client is able to tell me some of their favorite memories with that person, as well as some of the things they most love about that person, so that way I can make sure to really customize the lyrics for that person to give to somebody that they love. If you're interested in writing custom songs for people, then my first piece of advice would be to build a website. This way you have a place to point people to whenever they show an interest in that service. In addition, you may even want to write a few songs for free in exchange for testimonials. People love to see testimonials so that they can feel comfortable when spending money on a gift. My sixth and final way for today that you can make money as a songwriter is to perform your original music in coffee houses, restaurants, or on the streets. I'm talking tip jar style. Restaurants and coffee houses are not always inclined to pay their songwriters, and that's completely fine, that's up to them. But whether you're paid by them or not, you can bring a tip jar with their permission, set it out, and typically people will tip you if you're there long enough and if you're playing skillfully. I took this route all through high school and was able to make a pretty decent side income. If you're interested in performing your original music at a coffee shop, restaurant, or on the streets, try calling some of your local coffee shops or restaurants and asking them if they would be interested in having you come play. If they're not, and that's okay, then you could totally just go play on the streets. Of course, if you're young, ask your parents, and also make sure it's in a safe area. Please be cautious. And wherever you play, don't forget your tip jar. Make sure it says tip jar on it. While there are certainly several other creative ways that you can make money as a songwriter, I hope that these 6 that I shared with you today are inspiring and helpful if you are considering making songwriting your career path. If you'd like to download the cheat sheet for this video, I'll post a link to that in the description box down below. And until next time, remember to play, write, and spread the light. I want to start by saying this. Making money, great. In fact, I will most likely do a part 2 down this video. From that point on, they're no longer permitted to, wow, what is the word? Before I move on, it's important to note that Before I go on, it's important for me to note that I'm combining not and all into null. The publishing company will take all of the publishing company, Speaking of, what is the word? All that really matters is that they're filling. An advance is basically known as money. For a songwriter, a royalty is money. For a songwriter, a payment is a royalty. What?